Hey my dear friends, once again welcome back to the channel. I'm Gaurav here and that's the 24th video of this series. So in today's video we will learn about singleton pattern. So let's get started, but before we begin, as I always say, if you're new in the channel then please check out our previous videos first. Also subscribe to the channel and don't forget to hit that bell icon. It's absolutely free. Okay, so the singleton design pattern is very convenient and easy to use. That's why it's so much popular among the game developers. But it's also a controversial design pattern due to its pros and cons. And you'll see bunch of videos and blogs on the internet where some developers say that it's very useful design pattern, but on the other hand there are a bunch of other developers who say that it has proved to be an absolute nightmare for them and suggest not to use it. So if you guys trying to find something about it on the internet, then you will get to see a lot of debate about it, which is very confusing and disappointing. But you don't have to be disappointed, as I've already researched enough about singleton pattern just for you guys. And anyways, as a programmer, you always have to be ready to face any challenges and obstacles that can come in your ways. So keep challenging yourself and stay focused on your goal. So let's quickly jump into the project. And now, first of all, let me make it clear to you guys that I'm completely agree with both sides. So yeah, it's good to use singleton pattern, and yes, on the other hand, it's not good to use in your project. Well, I'm not trying to confuse you guys, but let me explain to you why I'm saying this. Actually, the singleton design pattern itself isn't bad. If something is bad, then it's just the way you use it in your project. Well, it's a bit advanced topic for beginners, but I'll try my best to explain it as easy and simple as possible. Now let's talk about why we should use it in our project. Okay, so the singleton design pattern allows to restrict the instantiation of a class to a one single instance. In simple words, there is only one instance, or you say only one copy of this class presents in the project all the time. And the strongest advantage of using singleton class in our project is that it makes the script globally accessible from any script in the game scene, which means we can access its public variables and functions from the other scripts in the currently active scene, which initially seems so easy and helpful to use unless our project is very complex. Although its pros are its cons. Why? Well, that's because since singleton is very convenient and easy to use, cause we can access it very easily, it means we can connect multiple scripts to singleton class. For example, we can set our player's health value to publicly accessible so that we can display it on UI panel, or we can make our player's position globally accessible so that our enemies can follow him, or you can add sound effects on singleton class. So in general, it's like a hub for other scripts in the game scene. It means that as your project gets bigger and more complex over the time, then you'll face very frustrating situation when you want to change some key functionalities, but then you'll notice that you cannot do so without breaking anything else. And it will be nearly impossible as other scripts are also dependent on those variables and functions. So replacing those key functionalities will be a tedious work, a real nightmare in the true sense. So the singleton design pattern can be tightly locked to your project with the singleton class, and it'll make your project very hard to manage in the long run, like a spider web. So to avoid these risks on your project, I'll always recommend you as a beginner to be always clear about your game's architecture and don't go too deep in the singleton for now. Otherwise you'll see that your project is badly entangled and stuck in that deadly web. So carefully use the singleton pattern and it'll be fine. Well, I think it's enough talking about warning and its pros and cons, but I'm pretty sure that you guys are still confused, right? So let's quickly jump into the project, and here I'm gonna fix that music issue which I was raised in the last video. But first, let's hit the play button and see which issue I'm exactly talking about. Now observe the music when we will load to next level, okay? Here, did you notice that the music in our game suddenly stopped playing when we switched to the next level and then restarted again? But now the question is why we are having that issue, right? Well, we are having that problem because we just removed our entire first level and then the game loads to the next level, which means that our audio source is also gone along with the first level, which was on the main camera. So that's why the game stops playing music. But then how does the music restarts again if the game has already removed the main camera where the audio source was attached? Well, this is cause the next scene also has another audio source component on the main camera that starts playing music from the beginning when the scene is loaded. Okay, so now you know what's happening here, right? So how we gonna fix that issue? Well, the idea is that somehow we have to prevent the audio source from being destroyed so that the game can continue playing music when we switch to the next level. Okay, now let's fix it. First of all, remove the audio source component from the main camera and then create a new empty game object and name it Audio Manager, and then add the audio source component on it and pass the game music in there. Now let's create a C# script and I'm gonna name it Audio Manager, same as the game object that we just created, and then drag that script on the Audio Manager game object. Now double click on the Audio Manager script to open it. And now here, first of all, get rid of these start and update functions, and instead of these we will use awake function. And we are using awake function so that our code from this script gets executed at the very first when the game starts. And here in the awake function, I'm gonna add don't-destroy-onload function, and within the parentheses I'll pass this game object. Well, it's an Unity's built-in function which allows us to preserve our game object to being destroyed, means the game object where this script is attached on won't gonna destroy during loading to the next scene. And if you wanna know more about it, then I'll give you its Unity documentation link down there on the description box or up here on the card. Now save it and go back to the Unity and hit the play button to see the result. Now let's go closer to the enemy and shoot some projectiles to destroy him. Now observe the game music while loading to the next level. You see that this time our music is playing continuously even though we have loaded to the next level. And as you see here, we have our Audio Manager game object just beneath the Don't Destroy Onload. But now there's new issue cropped up in front of us. Now the issue is that we are having dual audio problem in our game. Well, we're having that issue because we have two audio sources in this scene that are playing the same music. So if you look here on the main camera, you see here there is another audio source on it that is playing the same music. So we have to fix that issue, and to fix this I have two ideas in my brain. Okay, let's check the first solution, and it's just to remove the audio source from the scene 2, and that will solve the problem. So let's quickly remove the audio source from the scene 2, save it and jump back to the scene 1 again. Now let's see. Press the play button and quickly destroy the enemy. And here we go. Everything looks nice and perfect. The music keeps playing during loading scenes, and there is no dual music problem because there is no other audio source in this scene, right? But there is still an issue hidden in here. And what's that? Okay, so the point is that there is currently only one Audio Manager game object in this scene, correct? Which doesn't get destroyed when we switch in between two scenes, right? But what if we want a different music in specific scenes like a boss battle scene, or what if we want to load the same scene over and over again? So at that point this remedy isn't gonna work at all, and whenever we will reload the same scene, then the game will create another copy of Audio Manager game object, and which is not good for our game. So in this situation we have to destroy the current Audio Manager game object where this script is attached on. And this way there will always be only one Audio Manager game object in the game scene. Now in this situation the Singleton design pattern comes into play. So let's do it, but first we need to create its prefab. Now drag the Audio Manager game object within the prefabs folder to make its prefab. And then we will place the Audio Manager game object in the scene 2 and save it. So now we have an Audio Manager game object in both of our scenes. Now let's go back to the script, and here we will create a simple if statement where we will check if the instance, which is the Audio Manager game object, is already exists in the current scene or not. Okay, now here we have to create an instance variable of this class, and creating an instance of this class is very simple and easy. Now look carefully. Here I am creating a public static variable whose type of this class itself. That is, here I'll write the name of this class, Audio Manager, and I'll name it Instance. And that's how we create an instance variable. Now here, we are creating a public static type variable so that we can access it globally. In simple words, we can easily access all its public variables and functions by just using class name of this script in the game. And we don't even need to create any reference variables, or we don't even need to use GameObject.get component like we often do to access other scripts. And now, cause it's a public variable, so it means that any other script can easily access and modify its values, isn't it? But letting other scripts to modify its values is not a good practice, as it can cause a lot of trouble in the near future. So to prevent any problem in the future, here I'm gonna add two properties with our instance variables, which is get and private set, which means its values can be read or accessed by other scripts but cannot modify its values. It simply means that get makes its values publicly accessible to other scripts, but private set prevents its values from being set or modified by other scripts. However, we can easily modify its values from its own class. Now here, let's create an if statement within the awake function, and in it we will check if the instance is equal to null, which means if no audio manager present in the scene, then don't destroy this instance and set it to the current instance. And now move that line here within the if statement. So otherwise, if there is already an audio manager instance present in the current scene, then destroy this game object, and that's it. That's all we have to do to create the singleton pattern. Now save it and head back to our project and let's test it. Hit the play button and keep your eye on the audio manager game object. And here I'm gonna quickly destroy our enemy to load next level. Now shoot some projectiles. And there we go. There's only one audio manager game object exists in the scene, and we haven't saw any music related issue in there. So everything looks just fine. Awesome. Well, for now that's all in this video, and from the next video we will start working on the game's UI system. So till then, keep learning, keep practicing, and I'll meet you in the further upcoming videos. For now, see ya later.